Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Being Real. If you guys are new to the podcast, this is a podcast where I just let you guys in on what's going on in my life and just being blunt and honest about things that are good, things that are hard, things that are real, and inviting you guys in it to have a space where you can feel seen, heard, and loved as God intended. So thanks for listening. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we are to be just hanging out, just chatting about what I'm thinking about, things that I've thought of lately, random thoughts. One thing that's kind of funny is right before I started filming this, Jack and I were just going back and forth about conspiracy theories with the Epstein files, which is really, really sad and disgusting government scandal that has just come out recently. So yeah, that is something that's going on in our world, but it's been something that's been going on, and Jack's been super interested to learning about all the theories and what's going on with it, and I've wanted to just be removed from it because it's just not pretty what happened. So Jack's on the side of wanting to be more informed, and unfortunately I'm on the side of just wanting to be more, you could use the word ignorant. I personally am just choosing to protect myself mentally from talking about it because I'm a very anxious person, so talking about things like that just kind of rile me up. So that's why I'm just not really choosing to talk about it as much, but that's something that's been going on. Another thing is today is the last day of America's favorite pet. Co is in third. We have a few hours to kind of get her up. I don't know if it's gonna happen, guys. I'm not even gonna lie, but we tried our hardest. Unfortunately, the rat dogs are gonna win. It's okay, everybody loves rat dogs. My first dog was a rat dog and I love her to pieces. She has teeth falling out and everything, but she's a sweet little dog. I think Co is amazing. I'm also biased. I'm literally her dog mom, so of course I'm gonna be like, she's the cutest little baby in the world. But obviously so does everyone else think that about their own pet. But anyways, another thing that's new is this mic setup right here. I just have this little mic arm. You guys might recognize that from my old mic that we had previously. I just attached it onto this because it actually had the same little screw-on thing, so that's awesome. But I just attached it because it's low-key kind of heavy and I'm weak. So, no, I'm just kidding. I just was feeling like testing it out and seeing if it made the audio sound a little better. I've been kind of struggling with trying to get the audio sound right. There's some hissing that kind of goes on in the background. So, been trying to fine-tune things here and there to make it sound better for you guys. So, hopefully this one sounds better. I've been really trying to play around with settings and try to get it just right. So, hopefully it works. I've been running a little bit more lately. So, something else that's been new is I'm actually going to be a high school track coach this season. So I'll be coaching from March until May. So only a few months, but it'll be really good. I've never coached before, but I've talked about previously. I just finished up my college running career last May. And so going from that, I've just been training on my own and kind of being my own coach. And so I'm excited to get to actually help the head coach to coach a team of girls that were in a similar stage that I was when I got into running. So really excited for that opportunity to see kind of what comes out of that. But ultimately, it's just really cool to get to be a part of something bigger than myself. And I look at it as a way to give back to my younger self because when I first started running, I didn't like running. And then I found my own love for it. And then I had a great coach that encouraged me to get better and better. And now here I am today. So I'm just excited to get to pour into those girls and encourage them and be the best coach that I can be for them ultimately. So that's a cool thing that's starting up pretty soon. The career stuff is always up in the air. I feel like I talk about career stuff all the time on this podcast, but truly I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with it myself. I go back and forth between subbing and real estate and obviously coaching, something I'm doing right now too. Don't know if that's gonna be a full-time career, but I think it's just something that, if anything, just is exciting that's outside of career that I can, like I said, give to that isn't for myself. So I'm excited to be a part of that. But yeah, I just feel like I keep bouncing around careers. Obviously, I still work at Fleet Feet, which is super fun. I get to help people find a good fit for shoes, whether it's running, walking, whatever, and that's super encouraging. But I've just felt like I have a bigger sense of drive and urgency to do something a little bit more with my skills. So I am still working at Fleet Feet, but I'm also actively trying new things that are out there as far as career goes. So that's why I'm getting into real estate, something I can do on the side and see if that's something that I'm passionate about. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. So that's going on. Really just trying to enjoy time to be still. I feel like lately Jack and I have just been so busy. My last episode was about being overbooked, and that hasn't really changed, to be honest. Just been kind of running around and got one event to another. And tonight, actually, Jack and I have a date planned, so I'm super excited. He planned it and he hyped it up to be something super awesome and amazing. And I have no idea what it is, to be honest with you guys, but I'm excited for it because from what Jack said, it's going to be the best date ever. So I have no idea what to expect at that. I'm more excited that we get an opportunity to just date each other because with how busy we've been, it's been really hard to find time to just be able to be intentional with one another, whether it's us running around to our youth ministry or taking care of Koa or him working or me going to a coffee shop to either edit this podcast or work on real estate school. It's always something after another. And I'm excited to just get time with one another because that's the one thing is when you guys are married, it is so important to make sure to date each other. If you lose that, then that's the moment your marriage starts to go downhill. Not my own advice that I heard from other married couples. So not something that me and Jack came up with for sure. It's actually advice that's probably been passed down from several generations of couples. Honestly, I love getting advice from older couples. Whenever I meet older people at my store and it's a couple, I always ask them how long they've been married. And then I always ask them their number one piece of advice, and I just love taking it all in. And it's just sweet because you get to see people that are married for 50 to 60 years and how they interact, how they talk to each other, and it's just really sweet. Life's been very busy, but just trying to find time to be still, finding time to rest and just soak up God's word and just enjoying the warmer weather. It's been a lot warmer here in the Midwest and I've been loving it, but I also want it to be even warmer than it already is because I'm somebody that thrives in the warmer temperatures. So looking forward to spring and summer for sure. I definitely love shorts weather, so that'll be super, super fun. Something that I've also been just kind of processing and working through. I actually called Kayla yesterday. Y'all saw Kayla in a previous episode where we got to talk about just the idea of moving homes, where she's actually moving to Colorado for a few months, might even stay there longer. And obviously, like, I had moved from living with them and some of my best friends and getting married, and now I'm in a completely different home than them. So that was kind of a switch. So we talked about that idea of just what is it like building a home in different places. And now since then, like Jack and I are building our own home together. And that's been really, really sweet. We have a puppy. We have our own little family unit now. The idea of moving homes for me was just so scary. And now it's just this beautiful little unit that I can't picture not having or being a part of my life. So it's like kind of crazy how God moves in that way, but just a little like summary sneak peek of that episode. So go check that out if you want to hear more about that. But anyway, something that I was talking to Kayla about recently is my internal wrestle with my style. This is something really small and a lot of females struggle with this. If you're a male, I know some male friends of mine that do struggle with this as well, but this is something I know a lot of females struggle with, the idea of how you dress. And me and Kayla were talking about it just because as a female, you just love the idea of presenting yourself well. And for me personally, I like to present myself well and express my personality with how I dress. And I also, growing up, I was super creative. I'm a very creative person even today. And a lot of where that creativity shines is through how I dress. I love bright colors. I love patterns, and I love kind of putting them together to create one big beautiful art piece in my head. So that's why I like to put outfits together. Sometimes I'll just wear comfy stuff. I'm literally wearing a sweatshirt right now that isn't anything special. It's a Target sweatshirt, but I like the color of it, so that makes me happy. I like to wear things that bring me joy, that make me feel me, and I've been wrestling with that concept because with looking at getting into real estate, it's very like business professional. And I dress very laid back, very vibrant colors, and just very surf granola vibes, you could say, is kind of the best way I could put a label on it. With that, it's not super business professional, super dressy uppy, and I'm kind of stepping into the world of that. So I'm trying to figure out a good balance to where I'm not completely changing how I dress and what makes me feel like me, but I'm also able to step into that world and be able to dress in a way that I need to for that position and career. So it's kind of like this weird in between that I'm trying to navigate, which has been kind of hard to do, but it's been something I've been wrestling with because I'm wrestling with the idea of switching something that makes me feel like me and brings me joy, which is, like I said, dressing up, wearing cute clothes, and also the idea of dressing how I need to for a career. But with that, what I'm doing is I'm looking how other people are dressing, which is a lot more people like to dress preppy and elegant and more dressy uppy. And I've been looking at how they're dressing. Obviously, I'm admiring it because it's cute. But what I'm also doing is I am thinking that I need to align with their style. And I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. And what that's doing is creating this like internal identity crisis for some reason, because like I said, the way I like to express myself and with my creativity is through how I dress. So when I'm starting to change that for the approval of others, that's not creating something positive in me. It's creating a lot of wrestling. It's making me feel very unsettled. It's stirring up a lot of negative within me instead of creating positive, which I can tell that isn't something that God intends through how we view ourselves. Because in reality, clothing is just fabric on our bodies. Adam and Eve were literally naked and were fine with it until they ate from the garden, and then that made them feel ashamed to literally be themselves. And so they put clothing on to cover up. And I feel like I'm almost doing a version of that by putting different clothing on to cover up who I am, to kind of fit into this other world. And I don't think it's wrong for me to add more of an elegant, mature style outlook to how I dress. I think that's important. I think I need to do that to a degree, especially if I'm showing a house that is a really nice house in a nice neighborhood and I'm wanting to show that house to someone, then I should dress up a little more. And I should put a little more effort into what I'm wearing because I'm showing a nice house. But that doesn't mean that every single house I should have a whole pantsuit on or anything, because I think that doesn't really resemble me as an agent, doesn't show me being authentic. And if somebody was to be a client of mine, for example, and I'm wearing this like super, elegant business suit, and they see me showing a house that is maybe a little on the cheaper side, they're going to be like, this girl's a little much for me. They may not directly think that, but they might have that in their head of, dang, she's really dressed up. She's really put together. I had talked to another mentor of mine. She said, I never want to make people feel inferior whenever I'm showing them a house. And I was like, dang, that is a really good perspective to have. I don't want to make someone feel inferior with how I dress either, because that doesn't make me feel good. I want to feel confident in how I'm dressing. I want to feel creative in how I'm dressing, and I want to feel joyful in how I'm dressing. And I never want to do anything to hinder someone else's joy from what I'm wearing, because I just feel like that's not loving to others around us. And that's something that I'm realizing that is so powerful for some reason. Like I said, it's crazy. It's like how someone dresses, what pants or shirt they choose to wear can affect how someone feels. And it's so weird. I just feel like it's something that's not really talked about, is how our style and others' style can affect us. And it can affect us mentally and emotionally. It can affect our confidence, how we feel about ourselves. And it's crazy. I've noticed that lately in myself, and I was like, I need to talk about this, because it is so wild how it does have a chokehold on our society of what we dress matters, and how we dress affects how we feel. But I've been trying to really, like I said, find a middle ground within that idea of how can I mold a more mature style with my style into one unit, to where I'm not losing a sense of what makes me me and how I dress, but I'm also not conforming to how the world is dressing or how these other people are dressing, because that's their style. That's how they like to dress. That's how they feel confident and joyful. And I don't want to take that from them by almost having a self-conscious outlook on how they're dressing. I would like to admire how they're dressing and take aspects of it and apply it to my own, because I think that is okay, in my opinion. So in a weird way, I'm creating this coastal, mature granola vibe. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to put a label on my style. I just like color. I like wearing things that are adventurous and make me feel fun and joyful and like myself. I love dressing like I'm on the coast, because it is low-key my element. I felt my absolute best in terms of how I dressed whenever I was living in Florida for 2 summers. I was in my element, and so I think that's why I like to wear a lot of clothes that are, surf style, because that's a lot of where I felt myself. And so I like to take aspects of that. Now, there are people that feel themselves when they dress more put together, and that's also, and I think it is okay to have a lot of confidence in what makes you feel you whenever you get dressed. I went to a brokerage the other day just to kind of tour it, and just, like I said, I'm learning everything about real estate right now. I'm seeing if that's something for me. I was presented with a front desk lady who honestly didn't really give me the best taste in my mouth. I was just saying, hey, I'm here here to meet up with a friend just to get some information about real estate, see if it's something I want to do. And she was like, oh, okay. But the way she kind of looked at me made me feel very judged. And I didn't love that. She kind of looked me up and down. I was wearing these mustard yellow linen pants that I love wearing because it's just like a bright, vibrant color. And I think it really is like a joyful color. Yellow is a happy color. And I was wearing this really cool kind of like graphic beachy tee, and it had some yellow in it that like tied together. I had on my blue Sambas, and I was like, yes, this is a good outfit. I feel happy. There's a lot of happy colors going on. And I felt very confident. But then I walked in and all of that changed whenever I saw the way the lady looked me up and down, and I felt very discouraged. It made me overthink, and it made me think that I need to change exactly how I'm dressing, because this lady who was wearing like a very nice pantsuit was judging what made me feel me and what I was wearing. In all actuality, what we wear does not matter. It is literally just clothing. It is a way we can express ourselves, but it doesn't define us. If we run around naked, that doesn't change who we are internally. And I think that's something that I just need to hold a little bit more loosely, to be honest. It did affect me, and it really damaged my sense of self when I looked at how I dressed, why I dressed. And I really have been trying to break down what I do like to wear and why I like to wear it. So that's something I've been like really thinking about, honestly. And I know there's a lot there to kind of break down, be like, what is this girl talking about with style and dressing up and all this? But that's just something I've been breaking down, just trying to think about and think about what I think about it, to be honest. But it is kind of a weird concept of what people wear and why they wear it and what makes them want to wear it. There's also trends that go on. And one thing that's kind of funny is whenever I am a substitute teacher at a high school, I look around, there's some girls and boys that look like they're in college already. It's kind of scary. Some of them look older than me, and I'm like, I'm 22 and some of y'all are 16. This is kind of crazy. But it's real. There are trends that go on, and it makes people want to dress a certain way because they want to appeal to the trends. They want to fit in. But also I feel like the idea of that is you kind of do lose your sense of self because you're fitting in and conforming to everybody else. And then what makes you you? What makes you stand out according to this person? And Sally down the street is wearing the exact same UGG slippers that everyone has. Not calling out people who wear UGG slippers. I just brought it up because I do see a lot of UGG slippers. But that's something that is very real. People look around, they see what everyone else has, and they want to have it, including myself. It is kind of interesting how our world works with that way of how we dress is determined by what trends are going on. How we dress is determined by what is deemed cool. It's like, when did the Air Force Ones or the Jordan 1s just like randomly go out of style? They were like at peak. I remember Hailey Bieber was wearing them in a Pinterest photo a few times. I was liking all of her outfits with the Jordan 1s, and then randomly those went out of style, and I'm like, what? That was a huge shoe. I even have a pair too, and I'm like, what the heck? When did those go out of style? Those are iconic. So maybe I should start wearing those again. But needless to say, how you dress is just something I think you have to internalize. You have to find what makes you feel yourself, what makes you feel joy. And at the end of the day, if someone doesn't like it, that's too bad. They just got to figure out what makes them feel good. And if they're having a hard time with that, well, then maybe they're having a hard time with finding what makes them feel joy. And that's something maybe as a friend you can help them with. That's something I've been trying to do. And my friend Kayla helped me with that. Called her up. She was like, this is what you got to think about, Kylie. Don't worry about what everyone is telling you should wear, where it makes you feel happy. And if you can make it a little bit more dressed up at times for when you need to, find a way to do it that still makes you feel yourself, that doesn't lose that aspect of what you love. And I agree with that perspective. Another thing is too, why are you wearing what you're wearing? Another thing that I've been thinking about and I've talked with friends about is the idea of gym modesty, of what should you wear to the gym. I've talked with friends about it. And I personally believe I want to wear things that my husband would feel comfortable with me wearing to the gym. Not because he controls what I wear, but I also respect and I love my husband. And if I'm walking out the door in booty shorts and I go to the gym and it causes all these other dudes to lust, whether they're Christian or not, then that's not going to make my husband feel good. Just like if he went to the gym shirtless and there were all these girls that were looking him up and down, I would feel really weird. And if it was your guys' case, you would too, if it was that perspective with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. I think there's something to have respect for who you're with how you dress. Personally, you also have the ability to be confident how you dress to the gym, because guess what? You work hard for your body. you work hard for how you feel and how strong you are. And I think you should be able to show some of that, but also, why are you wanting to show some of it? There should be a balance, I think. For example, I like to wear tank tops, and sometimes I like to wear tight tank tops, but I'll match it with like flowy shorts. I don't want my booty out, because at the end of the day, what is the difference between me being naked and a piece of clothing that is like this thin covering that? It doesn't really leave much to the imagination when you really think about it. So I'm like, there's no reason for me to wear skin tight clothes to the gym all the time, because why am I even doing that in the first place? Whether I feel confident or not, I'm personally thinking, what is going to make my husband feel respected and loved? And he's thinking the same thing. I think there's something to that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think our society tells us, no, dress what makes you feel good. Dress in what makes you feel confident and shows off what you work hard in. But sometimes it's not always loving to others around you. And I think we've lost the sense of caring about what others think in a positive way. We've lost the sense of caring for what others think, respecting others. And you could take that in multiple different ways, but in the sense of gym modesty, I personally feel like I'm respecting this random dude on the treadmill by not wearing booty shorts and a really short sports bra, because he might have a wife. And how would his wife feel if she knew that he was lusting after me if I was wearing something really skin tight? That's not assuming every time you wear something that is skin tight, someone's gonna lust after you, but it's just setting the bar for yourself of not even making it a possibility, because I do feel like that shows an aspect of respect right there as well. I don't know. The way I try to dress to the gym, I just try to go into it with, would my husband be comfortable with me wearing this around other men? And he already likes to wear pretty modest clothes to the gym. I haven't had to worry about that with him, but I am confident that if he had a stringer or something on, he would ask the same thing to me. I do think that's okay. And it's okay if you don't agree with that perspective. That's something that I fully believe. Anyways, that's something that I've just been thinking about as well. But we can wrap up the episode. I feel like we've been talking about style a lot, dressing up a lot, but I'd love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. If this is something you guys can relate to, if this is something that you guys have thought about, is the idea of if what you wear actually matters, and why does what you wear actually matter? And just kind of asking yourself that question. I think it's good to ask yourself that question and to process. I encourage you guys to journal. Something I'm going to do is journal that and just really think about, why do I like to wear certain things? Because, yeah, like I said, you get to express yourself through that, but it also doesn't define who you are. So it's important to find a balance with that. But thank you guys so much for listening. I absolutely love the feedback from the episodes, and you guys just listening and staying up with the podcast. Like, it really truly means a lot. This is such a growing podcast, and it's something I deeply care about, is getting to share my story, getting to share my thoughts, creating a sense of community through social media. I don't love social media. It's why I'm not on it all the time. I'm going to let you guys in on my life, but I don't feel like I need to be glued to it and sharing every single moment that Jack and I breathe and talk and co-op hoops. I just feel like that doesn't leave me being present with my own life. I want to be able to let you guys in on it, but I also care about being present with the people around me. So that's how I feel about social media, but I do want to create a sense of community with it, and that's what I want to do with this podcast. So yeah, but I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you find something that makes you laugh and something that makes you smile. And if it's warmer where you are, go on a walk. There's so much dopamine you get from being in the sunlight, especially at sunrise. Sunrise is my favorite time to get up and moving. So go on a run, go on a walk, and enjoy the outdoors. But I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!